Hello London Independent Film Festival. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for watching. My name is Howard Ford. I'm a filmmaker. I've made 8 feature films so far and about 250 something TV commercials, which has taken me all over the world. Actually, the films have too. And I've made a couple of movies, a couple of feature-length movies during lockdown. One of them is this blatantly product-placed coffee mug, which is also from the movie The Lockdown Hauntings, which is a movie I set in lockdown and also shot during the first UK lockdown. That's coming out in the UK from the beginning of May, so very soon. I hope you get the chance to check it out. We shot that with a lot of great actors all across the UK, but also in America. One of our stars is Tony Todd, who is the star of the Candyman movies and many other great movies, so it's fantastic working with him. We shot his stuff via Zoom. I'll talk you through some of this later. We might even show you some trailers, I believe. So, I've also shot another movie. I directed a movie called The Ledge, which is a female climbing movie, bit of a female cliffhanger, literally. Excuse me, I'll just place that there within shot. And that's one girl, on the side of a mountain. It is literally set on a cliff face. Written by Tom Boyle. I directed it for GFM Films Evolution, and that is coming out much later this year. So Lockdown Hauntings is first, and then The Ledge, and that's a sort of female-driven thriller. I've done one of those before with Never Let Go. I think we might show you that trailer too.
You need to find a way to forgive yourself, Lisa. Go someplace you've always wanted to go. Be together.
Just try and relax.
Sophie? Sophie! Oh, God. Please! Hey, that guy! For God's sake, do you understand? My baby is in that car! My baby, that guy's got my... Please, God!
Lady, there is a dead man on our street. Many witnesses saw you attack him. You cannot do this and just walk away. We have to do this diplomatically.
You have to tell them the truth.
I can't do that.
The lady here, when I checked in, she saw Sophie. She touched her hand.
Lisa, every village is a rabid warren of streets, many of them without even names. That kind of radius without an army of backup, I would forget it. Open the door. I won't ask again.
So that was the trailer of Never Let Go, and happy film, as you can see. Bit of a stressful one, not that easy to make as well, but running around the streets of Marrakesh with a Steadicam was sweaty work and tough for the cast and the crew, but an amazing place to shoot. I sort of love journeying with my films, so I love to not only take audiences on a journey, because I feel you owe it to them as a filmmaker to not just show them what they might get 24/7 in their real lives, to maybe take them to places they might not ordinarily go. That we shot The Dead. I actually made with the Ford brothers, The Dead and The Dead 2 India, because my brother and I were at the helm of those 2 films, and we shot the first one in Africa, which is Ghana and Burkina Faso, French-speaking West Africa mainly, and the second one is in India. Get ready? 3, 2, 1, action! Okay, cut. So I was going to talk you through some of my, some of what's happened, my career to date, getting these 8 feature films in the can and short movies prior to that and the commercials as well, and see if I can give you a few tips on the way. So thanks for watching and let's get into it. I started making short films when I was 13 years old, so it's going back a little bit of a while. And I wanted to do it even as young as 10. I kind of had no idea why. I just was absolutely desperate to make a film. I think I've been quite impacted by what I'd seen on screen, and then at some point I'd caught something on TV which was the behind the scenes of a movie, and seeing into that world, seeing the costume people and the all of the sort of equipment and everything. I think I was fascinated by that. Hadn't even considered there was a world behind it all, so I just somehow wanted to be in that world. Took a while to get going. My brother was 15, I was 13, and we bought a cine camera, a Super 8 film. Love shooting film, shot a lot of things on film. First 2 features were on film, 35, Super 16, and a lot of TV commercials. Still love film. Trying to get things to look like film is now the battle. So we went out and shot stuff on Super 8, and we just kind of got loads of friends as actors. Occasionally we got a real actor, which was amazing. And we would just kind of shoot these short movies. I've got to admit, they were pretty terrible, and I really hope they don't see the light of day. Although the thing was, we got better. So number one, learn by your mistakes. You will make mistakes as a filmmaker. You learn all the time. I think it doesn't matter how an entire filmmaking life. I think you learn on the last film. You keep learning and you keep taking those lessons and moving on and improving. So we'd made some, I think pretty bad short films, being harsh on ourselves. But that was the thing for me. So I was always kind of frustrated that what I was shooting, I thought, why does that not look as good as what I'm seeing on TV? Or I saw Jaws and I thought, that looks good. Why doesn't my movie look like that? And then I started to think, okay, right, so they've got, camera movement and the lighting. It was really starting from the base level up. And so each time we would add stuff to it each time as we went. Eventually did one of the short films, I think it was my 7th short film. It won a load of festivals, it was quite a lot of them actually. So we had a whole load of awards. So all of a sudden we're an award-winning filmmaker. That's a nice thing to do. Get it on the CV. Get it on the business card. It's a nice thing to do. So straight away, you may as well call yourself an award-winning filmmaker. I do. So it's good to win awards, good to get into festivals, and also it gets you a little bit more on the scene and connected, and the networking, which we're going to talk about, because there's a lot of what happens to you and where you go, comes from the networking and all the people you can collaborate with, the talent. So we did that, and then I directed my first feature film I was 21, and it was MAINLINE RUN, which starred Hugo Spear from Full Monty, etc. It's a bit of a crime thriller, so a little bit different from these films up here. This, I actually went off and made a family movie quite recently, 3 films ago now. But that movie, ADVENTUREBOYZ, I think we might show you the trailer.
You don't know me yet, but my name is Sam. This is my school. This is my brother Jake. And that is my dad. My mum is the sensible one.
How would those boys feel if the last thing they saw of you was a pile of dust?
In a small town, 2 boys must choose a path.
What do you do?
Playing tennis. Playing football.
Those devices, the people that made them are geniuses. Those geniuses did not expect the kids of today to be sat there all day staring into them. Getting out there, getting air in your lungs, dirt in your face. That is adventure.
Beyond the dark window, 2 swallows hold the key. Let's just leave it. It's not meant for us.
A twist of fate.
This magnificent castle is now officially a crime scene.
Just trying to figure out what kind of people we're dealing with. Dealing with 2 snotty-nosed little kids.
2 little boys are making fools of both of you.
Risking everything.
I am arresting you on suspicion.
From the director of Never Let Go comes a family adventure film.
Stolen diamonds? Boys on the run? Are you insane?
Clear sign it outside of the back door right now, waiting for the diamond.
That is ridiculous.
An adventure of a lifetime.
You want to punch really hard? You punch through the bag.
Adventure Boys.
Goody goody gumdrops.
They work for big, powerful businessmen.
On a BMX.
A Ford family film.
So that was Adventure Boys. Had actually a great time making that film. Happy in the glorious summer a couple of years ago. And obviously got to have a bit of fun with it on camera as well. That's where the Lockdown Hauntings, kind of having to work with no crew, as it turned out, with the Lockdown Hauntings, I started to edge that way of having very minimal crew on this movie, because a lot of the times when I wasn't shooting with wonderful actors, wonderful cast like John Campling, etc., many great actors who are great in the movie, it was myself and my boys, so there were times when it was just, you know, me in a field with them. So I had to start sort of setting up shots that I would then step into and do a bit of acting. So the whole idea of not having many people around at that point, you know, I realised, you know, it could be done if it had to be done. So I made that movie to kind of incentivise my own kids to get off devices. Prior to this pandemic disaster, I thought we had another disaster, which was kids, or maybe all of us actually, were just going into devices.
Now a Sussex filmmaker who realised his children were more interested in watching devices than going outside to play has made an action film with his sons in the starring roles.
Screened at the Cannes Film Festival.
Ironically, it came out, timing has a lot to do with things as well, so, you know, that came out, the slogan, which is up there off screen, it says, get off your device and get out there. Unfortunately, as it came out in the UK, it was doing quite well at some cinemas, had some really great, you know, great crowds at cinemas, that was fantastic. But the whole get off your device and get out there came as, you know, we were get indoors and get on your device because the lockdown had come. So the timing was a bit bad. I'm going to go number one tip. Be a decent person. It sounds like a weird thing to say, what's that relevant to filmmaking? It really is. Be nice, be respectful to everyone around you, because in this sort of incestuous film business, everyone talks, and everyone talks behind your back, behind my back, behind yours. Before you walk into a room, before anyone will work with you, they will all talk and say, you know, what's he like, what's she like, you know, yeah, no, he's a really good actor actually, no, he's great, but you know what? He's got a bit of an ego. He's a bit of trouble. He's a bit this and he did that. Do you know he did that? Okay, so, you know, then you take a step back from working from them. You hear those things, you know, or she, you know, she's good. She's great actually, really good. She's really good. Bit of a diva. So, you know, people talk behind each other's backs. I certainly, before I work with people, tend to reference them. I ask, and if someone gives me a horror story, understand what the crew members do. Understand, not just the crew members, as a filmmaker, it's great to understand what the actors do as well. Because it's a whole different thing being on the other side of the camera. It feels very different from what you'd expect too if you haven't done it. It requires a lot. So understand what your crew members do. Because, not because you need to step in and do it, so you can appreciate what they have to go through. You know, understand everything from grips, moving equipment, to, you know, understanding lenses, understanding what the costume department does, the set dressing, you know, understand all of the things that they have to do. You know, perhaps do a little bit yourself if you can, experiment, so you at least understand on a moment by moment basis what it takes to do those things. You can have a much more of a better appreciation of what the crew and the cast does. Be prepared, whatever job you're doing, whether you're directing, whether you are set dressing, whether you are acting, you know, whatever. Be prepared. No, it sounds like an obvious thing. Be prepared for what you have to do that day. Be ready to adapt as well. That's another one. But just be ready. And I really think for independent movie making, get on location, get your first shot really quickly, because what happens is everyone is talking, everyone's you know, no one's focused because nothing's actually started yet, so it's very hard to get things started. But if you suddenly set your camera up and go, do you know what, I get the actors in, that's it, that's where the sound needs to go, that's where the light needs to go, or, you know, do your first shot. shoot it. Even if you scrap that shot, shoot a shot, because suddenly everyone's focused. Oh right, yeah, okay, right. I better quickly put my hat on because I'm wearing a hat in this scene. Whatever it is, everyone suddenly gets focused because it's happening. Bam, 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 bam. So if you can get that going, and all of a sudden the mindset changes. So be prepared, get in, get your first shot. Think about the sound. Obviously, if you're a sound person, you're going to think about the sound. But it gets neglected a lot, and actually the sound is incredibly important for, it's hugely underrated. There's some say it's the other half of the film, sometimes it's the other 60, 70%. You can have not the best shot, but sound can change it all. So getting good sound, capturing good, clean dialogue is one thing, but think about what the sound, allow shots in your films that can just work with the sound design, you know. Sound design is a thing. There's an old cliche about, you know, have your actor walk in and, you know, turn the radio on. Okay, this is back in the day before you would tell your radio to come on. So, you know, and or, you know, just press the radio on, because then you could have any kind of soundtrack over it. Just think about sound, how it's going to work on it, because it makes a big difference to your film. This is particularly relevant to indie filmmaking. Use what you have. Start with what you have. If your family or your friend or someone you know has an amazing location or access to, you know, build that into the story. That's a really great asset. I mean, it could be that, you know, obviously, lovely if it's a famous actor you can, you know, get in your movie even for a bit. You know, use something you have, or if you have an incredible car or a friend has, you know, maybe write that in. Sometimes, you know, starting with things that you already have and you already have access to, rather than taking a script and trying to create everything from the ground upwards and then going out finding those things. Sometimes, you know, starting with a few key things that you have or you have access to really helps independent filmmaking, you know, keeping, you know, to a budget and also being able to pull off your vision. So start from the things you have. So I don't have anything. I just have this grimy, horrible flat. Great. Write the grimy, horrible flat in there. There's your location. Don't ask to get involved in, don't say, you know, hire me. That it doesn't really work like that. I believe you offer people help. So a lot of people like trying to get, you know, and I get it, you know, people try and get into your projects or involved in it and they want a job in the film world, and the number one mistake is they go around asking for a job, because basically pretty much no one gives them the job. It doesn't work like that. You offer to help. You know, you know, if you want to get involved in someone's film, or, you know, can I help? You know, do you need any help with that? You know, it's somehow, and then during the course of that process, they might actually hire you anyway. So one tip is, you know, not to ask to be hired. It sort of doesn't work like that. Offer help if you're prepared to do so, and somehow that can lead to something or a collaboration. Alright, this one is probably one of the most important ones for filmmakers of any kind, particularly indie filmmakers. Get good at the pitch document. Nowadays, you know, gone are the days where, you know, your 100 and something pages of a chunky white script, you know, A4 page script would be enough for executives to get excited enough to check it and read it and go, wow, this is a great story, let's put some money behind that. So that's happening a lot less now. You have to get very good at the pitch document. A document is like a brochure that has lots of fancy images in, and, you know, it tells, you know, it says what your film is, you know, the synopsis and why it appeals to, you know, the audience, and then it has the synopsis. It might have a cast list. Often these are people who you would like in your film rather than those who actually are. If they're in your film, brilliant, but often they're a type of sort of aspirational cast, you know, basically a list of the most famous names available at that point. You know, whoever played Superman last is normally on that list, and this kind of thing. These are people you might like to get if you get the money that you're after. So the pitch document, get good at making those, because sadly, and I think it is sad, often the projects that move are the ones that have the better pitch document. Another key one is understand who your audience is. Why, before you embark upon a particular project, think about and have the answer to why people are going to be interested. Why? Who are the audience? So you almost need to sort of come with an idea of your audience before you go ahead. Who's actually going to watch this? If it's just exciting to you, well, that's great. If that's all you care about, and you're going to sit in a room on your own and watch it. But if you want to get it to a wider audience, which I presume you'll do, why are they going to want to see it? You've really got to have a good answer to that, because that question is going to come up time and time again. So, who is your audience? And if you're making a film about something that has a pre-existing audience, that's another thing. Oh, it's a particular, whether it's a sport or it's a thing that has eyes on it already, but they haven't made a film about it. You're bringing an audience. You're more likely to get backing for a project like that. So really understand who your audience is going to be. Okay, so one of the most boring but most important things, if you are making a film that isn't just to go into festivals, it is to sell, to distribute to the world, you have to be prepared as a filmmaker, particularly producer, for something called delivery. That is delivering your movie to the distribution world, sales agents, distributors, because it is not just a case that you finish your film and you go, there it is, it looks good, it sounds good, that's my work done. Actually, that's sort of the beginning, tough though it is. Getting your film ready for delivery. There should be an entire film school for the delivery process. It involves a lot. I could talk to you for hours about it, but I would literally send you to sleep. But really, you're preparing your film for, it's not just that you need the 5.1 sound and all the sound layers, and you need your entire soundtrack of the movie with everything except the dialogue, because of course in foreign markets it's dubbed. But there are all sorts of things you have to go through to prepare your film for distribution, and then you go through QC, quality check, on your film, so things that even the human eye can't see are wrong get rejected by the lab, and you have to make your masters again. There's a whole lot of things you need to be prepared for, to understand how that works, how you prepare a film for market, and also being prepared for the cost of that, factoring that into a budget, because that often gets left behind. I think it's just tip number 10. I kind of lost count, but it doesn't matter. So, but probably, maybe the most important one is networking. And of course, how can you do that right now? You're in lockdown, or we're pretty much still in lockdown. It is about the people you know. It's about relationships, not just to, it's the people around you. You need great crew, you need great cast, and you also need to collaborate with talent. And the way to do that is to network. We're all human beings. We like to know we can get on well with the people, or there is a spark of something there that is also nice to work with. I personally like to work with people I get on with. And the way you find that out is through networking and exchange of skills as well. If someone needs a graphic artist, or someone needs a costume designer, sound person, etc., etc. If those people are, getting together at film events and they're meeting, and you can gradually build your team around you that way. And meeting actors as well. A lot of actors, I've met over the years. I've met them at networking events, and there they are. Angela Dixon's a prime one. Met her in Cannes 5 years ago, probably 7 years ago, and we got on well. I felt there was someone talented, and we've ended up making a number of films together. She's now the star of the Lockdown Hauntings. This whole sort of pandemic year, it's still going on, isn't it? Even after a year, so. We shot the Lockdown Hauntings in the first UK lockdown. I'd been personally affected, but I lost my uncle to this virus, and obviously it's affected people around the world in all sorts of different ways. And I'd been sat there in lockdown, and for about a couple of months into the first UK lockdown, there were nice things about it. Suddenly nature had risen up. Suddenly there were no cars, and there were things, there was a moment to reflect, which maybe in the end that's a healthy thing. But for film production and many other things, it was hugely difficult, because you could not get people together, of course. you still can't in many respects. So after a couple of months, I thought, you know, I'm an impatient sod at the best of times. You know, to sort of sit there and not doing very much is a little difficult. So I thought, well, what can I do? You know, and I thought, what can I make in lockdown? Can I make something at all in lockdown? And then I heard that this virus is actually not alive at all. It's not even a living thing, yet it's out there, you know, wreaking havoc and causing all these issues and taking innocent lives. And I thought, well, how can I do something cinematic with that? I talked earlier in tips about, you know, using what you've got. Well, I've got a pandemic. You know, can I use that? A global disaster. Maybe I can use it. Right. So I put an advert on Facebook, of all places, and I sort of said, actors, if I was doing a lockdown movie and I could, you know, involve you in the film you in your homes as part of the movie, you know, with no crew, because I couldn't even have someone in a car with me at that point, and it would have been too risky to sort of start getting a team together. So I thought, well, you know, I've done a bit of minimal crew stuff. I could do this. And so the response was overwhelming. Some amazing cast, people I'd worked with before as well, but also people I'd wanted to work with, and there are still people on that list I want to work with going forward. And so anyway, I got a load of actors together and said, okay, fine. Actually, I didn't get them together. That's not true at all. They were in their own homes, and so the locations became their homes, or their homes became the location. And so, you know, I went to the actors' homes and we, you know, quickly started writing a synopsis treatment, got it together. I didn't have time to write a full script, so there was never a full script for the Lockdown Hauntings, and I just had to hit go. If I decided to write the script, I would never have done it. I'd have been stuck in development. We all know what that's like. And so I just went out and did it, and started forming more of the story as I went along. And I ended up filming with Tony Todd from Candyman and loads of other movies, who was such a great guy, and he was in Los Angeles, so we filmed him via Zoom, filmed a number of actors via Zoom, but for the most part, you know, I wanted to do actual camera movement. I wanted to try and make it look cinematic, you know, as if I had 50 people or whatever, but doing it myself. You know, so, you know, I obviously got equipment to create camera movement, a little mini motion control, gimbal stuff to act as a steady cam, and, you know, I used a smoke machine for interiors. You know, I tried to do the things that I felt, you know, rather than just point and shoot. I've tried to do it in a way as if I had a team around me. Somehow it kind of worked, I think. Well, you tell me. The Lockdown Hauntings, it comes out 3rd of May via Altitude, distribution company in the UK, very good company. So, you know, that's getting out there. It's also getting a theatrical release in a whole number of countries. It's sold in more than 10 countries so far. And that's something else as a filmmaker. You know, I always try and... I talked earlier about, you know, knowing who your audience is. I at least try and have one eye on the commercial side of things. You know, it's an art form, filmmaking, but it is, the film business is a business. So, you know, there are certain things I feel one needs to put into their films so they can hook in an audience.
The UK lockdown is showing little signs of slowing down fatalities with other parts of Europe.
Dad, I think there's someone in the house.
You can't see it coming, but it can knock you off your feet, tear your roof off.
I'm investigating a murder case. Multiple young women. No forensics, no human trace.
Energies, spirits, whatever you want to call it.
If a spirit wanted to hold you down and carve its name in your back, well, there'd be little you could do to stop it.
What's happening to her? She's choking. What exactly do you want?
Do you believe a spirit could kill?
The question is whether you choose to believe it.
They called him the locksmith. He seemed to get off on scaring them, and when he felt that they were scared enough, he choked them to death.
Where is he now?
Well, that's the problem, sir. He died in prison.
Back, Mum.
You need to find out Why it's still here, Miss Parker. It's triggered.
You don't actually look into the core of who we are!
Get out of the house and go somewhere safe.
There's nowhere to run.
It's been in the house.
I just need to have a little sleep.
I can't see you anymore. Can you turn the camera back?
This is Jordan Myers, trying to shed some light on the darkness.
How do I stop a serial killer who's already dead?
So going from the Lockdown Hauntings, having shot the film with no crew, just an amazing cast. I'm very lucky to have the cast that I've got. You know, in some respects, they acted as the crew. They dressed their own sets, did their own makeup. If they had another person in the home, if they were married to another actor, yay, I could have two actors. Or if they, you know, had another human being in the home, they might help in some way. So that, you know, it just kind of works like that. And so it's been a really interesting experience. I'm very curious to know what you think of the Lockdown Hauntings. Moving to The Ledge, totally different experience. Much bigger film, climbing movie, female-driven climbing movie, script by Tom Boyle. It's set in the Italian Dolomites, so it's set in the mountain range of the Dolomites, and we actually shot the film in Serbia, which was actually a really great experience. Not an easy film to make at all. Having your actors on the side of a mountain, not easy. You're not allowed to kill your cast, which is a good thing. So there's, you know, a lot of safety things to consider there before you even take a shot. And but a fantastic crew. You know, the Serbian crew were really great. And hopefully it's going to be a nail-biting film. I think we had a crew of about 60. I counted about 64 people. Took me kind of a while to, you know, walk past the trucks in the morning. It was one of those, you know, having just shot the Lockdown Hauntings, which I did before I went. Very different experience from the Lockdown Hauntings. But The Ledge is coming out much later this year. So Lockdown Hauntings first, then The Ledge, which will be, by that time, in cinemas in quite a number of countries. I think more than 10 countries are releasing theatrical. What's next is, well, I'm actually likely to do a sequel to the Lockdown Hauntings. The Lockdown Hauntings 2 Second Wave looks to be the title. I may even do a third part, in which case it's a franchise. Don't mind having a franchise, always a good thing to do. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see if enough of you watch the movie, and I'm grateful for those that do. So for me, that's next. I'm also developing TV series. I have another supernatural movie that's, and I'm attached to a couple of things as a director. But you never know what's going to happen. You know, projects take a lot to get made. It takes a lot to make a movie, so you have to be prepared for your heart to be broken. Because you can, you know, if you get your heart set on something, it doesn't happen. That could be frustrating, but that's just the movie business. I think you need to be ready to adapt, and that's perhaps, you know, on a moment-by-moment basis. Movie making, it's like a mini war. It doesn't matter if there's 3 of you in a room or 300 of you on location. You know, it has its complexities, and I think you've got to be prepared for that, but you've also got to be prepared to adapt to whatever situation. You know, you might have this wonderful shot planned out, you can't do it. Well, you can't just stop. You've got to keep going, because you've got to get your films done, you know, on time, on budget, and to be honest with you, I think your films have to make money if you're in the film market, because if your films don't make money, you don't get to make them for very long. So you've got to have one eye on the business side too. So I just wish you all a huge amount of luck with whatever projects you're developing, whatever side of the business, whichever side of the camera you're on, going forward. I hope after this, you know, crazy situation we've endured, that we can all galvanize ourselves with positive energy and get together and just take our audiences on great journeys. This pandemic has shown one thing: entertainment is very important. We need films to be made, we need TV series to be made, we need to entertain people. It's a value to us. We are valued as well. You know, good luck, and thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for watching me. I hope you enjoy the Lockdown Hauntings. Final plug, always plug your movies when it comes out from the 3rd of May. And good luck out there. Hope to catch you soon and maybe collaborate someday.